What up gamers, I'm Sir Mav and welcome back to another Anthem video. We learned a lot from the live stream last week and today I wanted to start a discussion on gear diversity within Anthem and possible builds we could be working towards. But before we get into that, I have a giveaway going on right now where 3 lucky winners will have a chance to win a free copy of Anthem before launch on February 22nd, 2019. Click the link in the description box down below to find out how you can enter to win. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and tap fire that subscribe button for future updates on Anthem. You can also follow me on Twitch where I occasionally stream games, mainly Battlefield, but you won't want to miss it when I debut Anthem VIP demo on January 25th through the 27th next month. See below for details on how you can get into the VIP demo as well. Now, let's talk gear and builds. So overall, this video is meant to be a discussion while providing you with info on possible builds within the game, so I want to hear from you on your thoughts, comments, and your own builds that you are looking to craft as you progress through Anthem come launch. So let's talk details first in case you missed the stream. I'm going to get deep here, so start loading your spreadsheets. In Anthem, we have 3 gear slots and 2 weapon slots. There's a multitude of weapons, so we're going to focus more along the lines of gear specifically here. 2 of the gear slots are attack abilities and the third is a support ability. Each Javelin has 5 abilities per the 2 attack slots and 2 support abilities to equip via the support slot. If you want to find out more on each Javelin's abilities, you can find the links to those videos in the description box below or the cards up at the top right. So already, just through the gear we have about 50 different combinations per Javelin of builds we can implement within just these 3 slots. If that wasn't enough, each gear piece, uncommon and above, also comes with what the Anthem team calls Inscriptions. These are basically perks that add additional stats to your gear to enhance your playstyle, and yes, they are stackable. So at the uncommon gear level, a gear piece will have 1 inscription, move to rare and it'll have 2, and so on through rare and epic until you get to the masterwork tier where you reach the max of 4 inscriptions. Inscriptions can also be found within the component slots we unlock as we progress through the game, so once you have everything unlocked you'll end up with 11 slots total. So let's recap. 2 ability gear slots, 1 support slot, 2 weapon slots, and 6 component slots, all totaling up to your final gear score in the end. So how many combinations is that? 11 slots, 4 inscriptions each. Let's say the max pool of inscriptions is 100. Well, honestly, this is a massive factorial combination, so believe me when I say you literally have thousands of combinations of builds that we will be able to implement within Anthem. And this is where I'm more or less going to be talking from as far as build theory goes, as this is where you're really going to be fine-tuning and changing or chasing different inscriptions within your gear. On the screen I've placed a list of the inscriptions we know of so far that were shown during the live stream. It's also safe to say that with every weapon type we'll see an ammo and damage inscription available. Ben Irving did state to me that certain inscriptions would be pulled for specific gear and weapons, so not all the inscriptions we see will be available on every piece of gear we pick up within Anthem. We won't really be able to understand that component of our builds until we get into the game and start collecting loot for ourselves. It gets even more diverse once we acquire masterwork weapons and gear, as these items come with what Darren referred to as properties in the live stream. And it seems once you get here, the properties of your gear and weapons will be the simplest point to start your build from, as you'll want to synchronize your inscriptions around these properties to get the most use out of your gear. Let's take for example Darren's Ranger build within the stream. Essentially his build is geared around hovering, explosive damage to multiple targets, and utilizing his gear abilities and ultimate as much as possible. This creates a build very geared for medium range engagements with a focus on crowd control. This is why when you saw the gameplay during the stream, Darren was hovering quite a bit in order to utilize his build properly, because for one, his gear abilities cooled down by half just from hovering. He was also able to do more damage to weak points while hovering due to his weapons property, and if his abilities recharge time was taken down by half, that means the build would be able to dish out double the damage of a normal build for his Ranger. And if you're looking to implement even more DPS or help support the DPS builds in your squad, you'll want to also take into consideration the different elemental damage we can incur on our target, as they have different aspects to them. As far as status effects go, Ice will of course freeze your enemies, making them easier to target for your team to lock onto. Fire burns, adding additional damage on top of your initial damage, and electricity causes an area of effect around the target it inflicts. An important one though is Acid, as this actually debuffs your target so that you and your team can actually inflict more DPS upon that target. How much exactly is still yet to be determined, but it's safe to say that if you have a Javelin that can utilize the Acid debuff properly, it will definitely help in taking down mobs quickly and focus firing single boss targets within Anthem. And again, as I stated before, all of these inscriptions we discussed are stackable across your gear, weapons, and components. So in theory, you could stack something like gear and seal recharge time multiple times through all of your gear and components so you could utilize all your abilities more frequently. Have that stacked with the property of a component like Airborne Advantage that we saw in the live stream, then you can increase your Javelin's recharge rate by half. Then you overall increase your DPS damage because you have the ability to stack your attacks multiple times more frequently on the target. And I know what you're thinking, just like Ben was saying in the live stream.
I hover. I'm getting reduced gear cooldowns by half.
Yes.
And weak point damage. I defeat an enemy with my missile.
Right.
It does bonus explosion damage, and it makes my grenades do 50% more damage for 3 seconds. If I use my grenade and get a 2-person multi-kill,
right,
it'll regenerate my shields. If I get a 3-person multi-kill, it will fill my ultimate meter faster.
You got those numbers reversed, but yes.
But yeah, okay. So after I do all of that, if my ultimate's filled up, I use my ultimate. That increases all of my gear by, I can't remember the number now. It was 50% or something.
Yep.
Which at that point, my gear cooldowns are so low, they're probably refreshed, and I'm doing it all over again.
It's ludicrous.
That's ridiculous.
But think about it for a second. We have no idea how difficult in-game content is going to be in Anthem, and when we are chasing more loot with a synchronized team of Javelins utilizing stackable abilities, we're going to need builds like this to tackle difficulty levels like Grandmaster and beyond. Now, I know that was a lot, but that's essentially the basics of the diversity of building within Anthem, and this is where you come in. I've heard of melee builds being theorized for Javelins, shotgun builds, marksman builds, but what are your thoughts? What's your playstyle, and what sort of build will you be gunning for in Anthem? With the inscriptions we know of so far, I could definitely see a lot of different melee builds or close quarter builds come to fruition. Even weapon focused builds where you stack specific weapon type damage or even gear towards a specific ability for your Javelin. Gosh, we haven't even discussed ability synchronizations within our Javelin pool and across other Javelins and squad makeups, or even primers and detonators, but those are videos for another day. Remember, we have thousands of possibilities here across the 4 Javelins we will wield at launch. The future is definitely bright for Anthem at launch and what we could behold in future expansions to come. So let's get this discussion started. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and tap fire the subscribe button for future updates on Anthem. Until next time, gamers, this is Sir Mav, signing off.